Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with allthingsbbq.com, and this is the brisket wrap test. Well, today we're doing a little experiment. We've got 3 whole briskets we're gonna smoke up using 3 different techniques. 1 wrapped in foil, 1 wrapped in paper, and 1 cooked naked and unwrapped throughout the entire process. We wanna find out how these techniques affect the finished product in flavor, texture, and time. So we're gonna hop right into the middle of this cook. We've got 3 beautiful Creekstone Farm prime briskets that have been on the Yoder Smoker's YS 1500S pellet grill for nearly 8 hours now, smoking away at 225. They're just about to wrap, so that's where we're gonna jump in. So all 3 of these briskets are roughly about the same size. All 3 of them have been treated the same. They've all been injected in the flat with a little beef stock and then a simple salt and pepper based seasoning on the outside. Now this one right here, you can see it's got a nice bark formed on it. It's starting to get that dark mahogany color. In fact, all of these are progressing pretty nice, so I'm gonna pick a couple of these that we're gonna wrap, 1 in foil, 1 in paper, and we'll leave the 3rd one just sitting there naked, smoking open. So let's start off with the foil. Now typically with foil, one of the things I really like to do is add a little extra liquid in to kind of add to the braise and to the flavor, but in the name of keeping all things equal today, we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna wrap it up nice and tight in the foil. All right, so next we're gonna do our paper wrap. So once again, we wanna go pretty tight with this. There we go. All right, so we're gonna get these loaded back in here, and we'll see them when they finish and start to come off. The first of our 3 briskets are done, just shy of the 10-hour mark, and that's the foil wrapped brisket. It's temping just over 205 and very little resistance when probed, so we're gonna pull this off and let it rest. Well guys, we're at the 11-hour mark now, and I'm feeling this paper wrapped brisket, and man, it feels good. It feels like it's done, not much resistance when it's probed. So we're gonna pull this off right at the 11-hour mark, which just leaves us with our unwrapped brisket, and it's getting really close as well. I can actually tell now that this is a bit smaller of a brisket than the other one, so I think that's gonna help us out on the timeline, but it doesn't need probably more than another 15 to 20 minutes would be my guess. Well, all 3 briskets are off the grill now. All 3 have had time to rest. We're gonna start by slicing into the foil wrapped brisket since it came off first. All right, well, there she is. Decent bark, definitely softened a bit in the wrap, but otherwise looks really nice. Great wiggle to it. Let's just go ahead and take it about in the center where those 2 muscles meet. A little bit of that point muscle right there on top of our flat. I mean, juicy for sure. Great smoke ring. I mean, same thing to be said for the flat. Great juiciness. We'll take some slices here out of the flat. Getting to that center mark there. Pretty decent little hang on it. Just a little bit of tug, but comes apart pretty easy. Very juicy. Flavor from the bark is great. Let's just check on that point meat now. Now our point kind of runs in the opposite direction, so I'm gonna switch directions on us here. And that up there is all that point meat with a little bit of that flat underneath. And once again, plenty of juice in there. But it's slicing like a dream. And if we take that fatty meat away from the lean. It's holding together, right? But if we tug on it, it just wants to come right apart. So that's a good sign. Fat's at the right spot where it's rendering out, but it's still holding stuff together. Feel pretty good about that for the foil wrapped. The bark isn't super prominent, but I think we'll see a little bit of variety as we move on and slice into these other two briskets. All right, so let's get into our paper wrapped brisket now. So initial thoughts, there's definitely a bit more bark to it, that's for sure. Let's come in here about halfway. I mean, that's just right where that point meat's starting, so we're right about halfway through the flat. Not quite as juicy, but still got good juice to it. So about the same on the hang, about the same on the tenderness. I'd say just a tad less juicy, but again, it's not dried out. Now that's interesting. The flavor to me is more peppery, so I'm definitely tasting more of the bark than I was on the last one. Now for this one, I'm just gonna peel these muscles apart so we can kind of look specifically at the point meat. So we've got a much thinner point muscle on this brisket, just shaped a little bit differently, but you can see all that juice that's still coming out of the center of there. So again, that's a piece of that fatty meat. It's holding together, but a little tug and it comes right apart. Great moisture content to the point. So last we have our unwrapped brisket, and this one has got some mean bark on the outside. I mean, that's got texture for days. Well, that's definitely the driest of all three of them, but that's to be expected when you talk about cooking it open all the way through. And boy, that's dark. Look at the bark on that thing. So the hang, about the same as well. The tug, pretty nice. So it should be no surprise that this is the smokiest of all three of the briskets, with the most texture, but the least amount of internal juiciness, even cooked to that kind of perfect doneness where everything's melting out. So there's that point meat, that fatty stuff, nice little tug to it. We can see that it's plenty juicy. Oh man. That's got incredible flavor. I love the way the bark is so pronounced on this one. But you can't deny that there's a little trade-off when it comes to the moisture content on the brisket throughout. I think for me, the foil wrapped is probably the winner. I mean, you just can't deny that juiciness. And the bark is still really nice, just not the same crunch you get on an unwrapped brisket. So when it comes down to it, I think it's really about personal preference. Each technique has its own trade-offs, advantages, disadvantages. It's really about what's important to you and choosing the technique that matches that. So for me, I love a juicy brisket, and that's a big piece of meat with two very different kinds of muscles in it. I want to make sure it's going to be juicy every time. I'm probably going to continue to roll with the foil. But if it's more important to you to have a really crunchy, nice bark on the outside, you want that dark crunch to it, go unwrapped. If you want to pick up some of the elements of both of those, paper wrap's probably the way to go. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any suggestions for future tips and techniques, let us know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to allthingsbbq.com/thesauce. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.